And now we're gonna go live. All right. Okay. I'm gonna say welcome back again. It looks as though I've got everything worked out. Like I said, one of these days I'll figure it out. So, welcome to Miniature Monday. I got the title right this time because I had practice. This is the show where I pretend like I know what I'm doing as far as painting goes, and we'll wait and see if you catch on. So, I'm Scott, and this is going to be part 4 of us working on our rock golem. Today we are going to be working on highlights, and highlighting is making sure last time we worked on washes and shading, and as the name shading sounds, that's making it look as though we're getting into the crevices, the darkness area. So highlighting is the exact opposite. We want to be working on the areas where the light is hitting. So with that, let's go ahead and get on into it. Here we go. So, we've got our wonderful little rock golem here. So far, he's looking pretty good. Now it's time to get into the shading. So, washes. So the first thing that we want to do when working on washes is we're pretty much going to almost undo everything that we did with the shading. Because right now he's looking very dark, and we want to go back in and bring up those highest areas. Now, there's a lot of detail on this guy, a lot of little nooks and crannies. So there's a couple of options as to what we can do for highlights. We can do what is called layering, which takes a lot of time and a lot of steps, and basically going over and, as the name suggests, layering different layers of lighter and lighter and lighter colors. The goal with that is actually you want to almost get to just a pure white. But I'm thinking there's so many different just little nooks and crannies on this guy, layering might be hard on the main body. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to do a technique that is called dry brushing. So what that's going to look like is we're going to take our handy little sheet with the colors that we've been using, because it's good to keep records, and we're going to start with the main body. If you remember, the main body is this blue-gray pale that we've been using from Vallejo. So get that all shaken up. We're going to put some on our wet palette, and we are going to get our handy dandy brush, and we're going to get the brush wet just so that we can prime the brush itself. We're not really doing much else with it. All right, so it is primed, and now we're going to put the coloring on the brush. Let me move this over so you can actually see what I'm doing. Maybe, I don't know. I'll put the coloring on the brush. Oh, that is really bright. Nope, never mind. And then we're going to take the brush and we're going to wipe off most of the paint that we've just put on. As the name suggests, dry brushing, we want very little paint on this brush. And from here, now with this brush that has very little paint on it, we're just going to go over and we're going to hit a lot of the coloring on. There we go. There. Now you can see that color is really just hitting the highest areas. So we're still getting a lot of the darker colors that we had on there. But now we're letting those higher details really just pop. So we're adding essentially just contrast to this mini. You know what? I think I should use a different brush. This one is not the best dry brushing brush. Here we go. This one is much better. You know what? This time I'm not even going to wet the brush. I'm just going to load it up with paint, and then I'm going to offload that paint until just very little comes off. There we go. And we're just going to go over and we're going to hit all of the main body areas. Now, dry brushing is not going to give as much detail as layering would. Layering, I would definitely do that more on say, player character minis, or, minis that are going to see a lot of tabletop usage. And, normally I would want to layer on this guy, but there's just so much gosh darn pitting on this guy. I feel as though it would take forever to layer him. And I know I really enjoy my time with you guys here, but I don't think you want to watch me highlight a mini for, say, 3 hours. Now I'm doing my best to just hit the main areas of his body. Ooh. And just like that, already, too much paint. Nice thing about this is I can just go back over and pick up a lot of this paint. Let's see here. There we go. There we go, buddy. Come on. Alright, so I may have gotten a little bit too much paint on him there. We're going to go ahead and go in with now an unused brush. Let's get a little bit of water on the brush, because this paint we want to... It's still not, adhering to the main guy. So we can just pull a bit of that away. Here we go. Nice. And just like that, we had a problem, and we solved the problem. It's all about making mistakes, trying new things, just getting messy, like Miss Frizzle used to say in Magic School Bus. All right, so where was I? Yeah, so we're just trying to hit the parts of the body that had this color. We don't want to dry brush the whole body in this single color. And this is why dry brushing is kind of a... I don't want to say it's a lazy technique. It's an absolutely viable option. But for detailed work, it can be tough, because you may be able to see on this, I'm hitting some of the areas that aren't necessarily this color. And that's not great. Now, one thing I had noticed about this rock golem after our last session with him is that he kind of had a bit of a shine going on to him. For some reason, the wash that we put on him left him really shiny. And I hadn't really seen that before. I was surprised at that. So, happy to see that that was fixed. Well, is being fixed with the dry brushing that we're giving him. There we go. By the way, happy Labor Day, everyone. I absolutely forgot that it was the Labor Day weekend until about, like, an hour ago. So, for those of you joining in and watching, thank you for spending your Labor Day with me. And for those of you watching this after the fact, I hope that you have had an absolutely lovely Labor Day. All right. Now we're getting into his face. Yeah, that's looking nice. That's looking good. Now again, you can see that this is really taking those edges and highlighting them and just making him pop a little bit more than he did with just the wash. Okay. think we've covered most of him with that base color of his. Yeah, he's looking great. Okay, so now we're going to move on to our secondary color. What else did we hit him with? So that was the blue-gray pale. Let's move down the line to the fossil. The fossil was the dark stone. Okay. Now we've dried, well, we've cleaned that main brush, so we can still use that. And again, I'm getting a good amount of paint on here, and then just trying to get off as much as I can. Alright, fossil. Yep. Now, it's very subtle on this one, because, you know, it's a darker color, but it's definitely there. Cool. Well, that was easy, because that was just the one part. And already, my paper towel is filthy. Because dry brushing, it feels like you're wasting a lot of paint, but, I mean, you got it for a reason, right? Use it. Alright, so next up, we're moving on to the smooth stones of the guy, and that is the London Gray. So, let's go ahead and take our London Gray, pop some onto the palette. Now you'll note I'm going back over everything with the original color that we had. And that might seem a little weird. You know, you might say, hey, don't you want to hit everything with a lighter color? Well, yes, we do. And we're going to get to that in just a second, I promise. Ooh, there we go. There we are. Nice. Really getting in there. And get those ab stones. Now, this is kind of a slapdash job on here, mostly in that it is getting on the other stones. But I think for a creature like this, that's okay. Okay, I'm just having to calm my hands down. Okay. Oh, a couple over here that I missed. Now, a full brush of that has dried down will last you a while. You don't need to, you know, refill it every so often. There. I think that should do it on the smooth stones. Excellent. And this is, ooh, my gosh, sorry, I just kicked the camera. This is bringing down a lot of the shine that I was talking about earlier, so I'm really happy with that. But what'll really finish this off is when we seal this guy in, we'll use a matte varnish And that will really mute down those colors. All right. Moving on to the dark sea green. Well, this one is very liquidy to begin with. There we are. Alrighty, now this was the textured stones, I believe. Yep, there we are. Let's see what else. Yeah, there weren't many of these. So, oh wait, there's one. And that one. Perfect. All right, so good. I think that just leaves us with the darkest stone, the black gray. Now this one, I don't know how dry brushing is going to look on it. I'm not sure how it is going to turn out, so let's find out. There we go. All right. Ooh, that's adding some very subtle dimension to it, but it's good. Oh, I forgot his eyebrows. I forgot his eyebrows. No, he'll be expressionless. And there's that. Okay. So, one thing I am noticing on certain parts of these, I'm not happy with what the dry brushing is doing. It's not bringing out the highlighted texture that I want. I want to add maybe another height to it. So, this is going to be a tough call. We're going to add some new colors into the mix. We are going to take everything one step brighter than it is. But I don't want to do too much of that. So, let's get our lightest grays out here. We've got an ash gray. We've got a uniform gray. And I think that's going to be it. So, we're going to bring white into this as well. We might not use it. So I'm going to start with this ash gray. And I'm going to just use this on the areas that I think the light would hit the most. So on his upper body, things like that. And I'm not going to be as aggressive with the dry brushing of this. I mean, I'm still going to use the dry brushing method, but I'm going to attempt to localize where I'm hitting it, yeah? So, up here. Yeah. That's really helping. Okay. Ba-da-bum, ba-da-bum. We're going to take this same really light gray, and we're going to try this on the fossil. I like what that's doing. It's very subtle. Let's do that on his eyebrows as well. It's nice. And finally, very, very careful. No, actually, no. We're gonna bring out the uniform gray, which is a bit darker. But we're gonna do this on the darker stones. You know. All right, here we go. Start with these. Nice, and just grazing the tips of these black ones. There we go. There we go. Yeah, I like what that's done. No. Thank you for whatever. Let's mute this a little bit. Yeah. Okay. So it's not the cleanest highlight job, but with something like this, it's going to be... I mean, it is going to be easier. So you kind of have to have that trade-off. Are you looking to get the job done quickly? Or... I have no idea what is happening over there, but my computer is trying very hard to talk to me. But yes, so are you trying to get the job done quickly, or are you trying to win awards? With this guy, I'm not really trying to win any awards. I want to get this thing looking cool, looking great, but the dry brushing, I was okay sacrificing a bit of detail to get this done. So, yeah, I think that is what it is. So there we go. There's highlighting. It's the way we did it, much faster than anything that I was expecting. So, I mean, I know it was kind of a short one today, but there we go. We've got them highlighted. The last thing that we have to do is finally we move on to the step where we add details. And this can be anything from adding some dirt effects or moss to him. I think for this guy, I mostly want to add some eye effects, and I think that's going to involve an airbrush. So yeah, tune in next week. That's what we're going to be focusing on, the detail work and the finishing. So he should be done. Thank you all so much for joining in, and thank you all for watching. Again, if you liked what you saw, please hit that like button, and if this is your first time here and you enjoyed it, hit that subscribe. I definitely appreciate it. For those of you bearing with me through all of these technical difficulties as we learn, thank you all so very much, and let me know what you think in the comments below. And so yeah, we will see you next week, and until then, enjoy this awkward transition while I close out. Bye-bye. 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 Goodbye.